Okay, good morning everybody and happy Thursday. We're going to get started here in just a minute. I hope everyone can hear me well. We are having a bit of a poll this morning as well. So if you're just logging in, you should see a little poll that I published. Kind of curious what people think about NVIDIA today. It's just largely an entertainment exercise. Mixing it up a little bit here, and thank you already for the audio and visual test. It sounds like we are good there. We got a whole bunch of stuff we need to go through here this morning, and we will get started on that here in just a second. If you're here for the first time, thanks for being here. This is our Set the Market morning call. We're going to spend the next 10 to 15, probably at least 15 minutes today going through some of the top things in the markets, and then we should be in good shape to kick off the last couple of trading days here for the week. I want to start off with the poll real quick, just as I highlighted. So, little poll this morning. If you guys log in here, you'll see it. The question is, will NVIDIA today close green or red, meaning up or down for the day, right, from yesterday's close? It looks like right now we're 77% think that we're going to have, or 78% now, think that NVIDIA is going to be green today. Up, 18% believe it's going to be down. 4% are saying, what is NVIDIA? So that's great. So we have a little bit of perspective. So what I think what we'll do here first this morning, and it's also Ticker Thursdays, as someone said before, it's everyone's favorite day, Ticker Thursdays. I appreciate that. I'd like to go through, we have a whole bunch of stuff to go through. We are going to talk about NVIDIA, because I do think there's something important there. Then we are going to be looking at a multi-asset chart. We'll look at the S&P long-term chart as a reminder, the dollar index, which is getting stronger once again. And I do want to talk about Bitcoin. IBIT, which remains in a bearish momentum move, that we received our bearish momentum signal, as you can see right there on the 15th of October. And since then, the IBIT ETF is down about 20%. So, you know, if you're currently getting hurt in the Bitcoin down move, you know, maybe there's a different way that you could use momentum in your investing and trading. We use our TST Trender Momentum Indicator for that. If you don't have it, we have a Black Friday special right now that you can reach out to the team to get that right now. Okay? So, let's get started with the multi-asset chart first. Two charts actually what I'd like to bring up. So I'm going to quickly bring on over a couple charts. The first chart is one that we actually built together yesterday, and that is this one here, which I know a lot of people really enjoyed. I even had a few people send us a message on this one. And so this is a multi-asset chart that we did together, and it essentially, what it shows us is that maybe outside of NVIDIA and a couple of other stocks, a lot of things are kind of in this, it's hard to say whether it's a topping phase yet because the trends haven't broken, but these are things, you know, like the equally weighted S&P 500 chart is the one at the top. Then software companies is the second chart. The DAX, the German DAX, financial sector, high yield bonds. I could have added probably another half a dozen things and they all look the same. So the market is certainly not getting stronger. It's not broadening, at least not right now. That can change, right? And from a momentum perspective, excuse me, again, the market is definitely weakening and has been now for weeks. Again, if you look at this through the lens of momentum, we have talked about, we just mentioned it before with IBIT, right? The Bitcoin ETF, that's this one here, which clearly we received a momentum sell signal all the way back on the 15th of October. So again, as I said, if you're getting hurt with Bitcoin being down hard, you know, there is a better way, right? The momentum is actually how we can navigate sort of the shorter term moves in the market and hedge ourselves. So if you don't have the trender yet, go grab it. We have a Black Friday offer right now that you probably wouldn't want to miss. So that's that. But are there any, if there are any questions on the multi-asset chart, this one here, please let me know. I will be more than happy to go over it again and explain it a bit more if you would like to. But I do want to get to the next chart, and that's one I mentioned yesterday to some clients as well. And that chart is basically just a reminder where we are in the bigger picture for the S&P 500. This is purely a price chart, but the valuation chart looks very simple. So this here is the 100-ish year S&P 500 chart. It's just a reminder. It's not meant to be something where now people have to go jump out of windows and sell all their stocks. It's just a reminder that we are at the very, very, very upper end of a 100-year chart. 100-year is quite a long time. Last time we sort of reached, what we couldn't even create this chart until basically the year 2000, but we're now back at a level that became very difficult in the year 2000. That's just a price chart. It's an important chart, and I think this will hold, and we think the S&P is going to largely go sideways for the next 5 years. But there's also the valuation chart, which essentially is telling us that if we have a 23, 24 times forward multiple on the S&P, it tends to basically do just about nothing between up 2 and down 2%. It's a JP Morgan study that came out a few weeks ago, and again, I've published this before. Okay, so again, any questions on this, please let me know. Let's talk about NVIDIA. Two things on NVIDIA. So, and this is both of these things we mentioned yesterday. So from a trend following perspective, right? So this is the sort of multi-month, multi-quarter kind of trend. NVIDIA, using our market rover technology, remains in a bullish trend. So essentially what that means is that the chart that you're looking here, the green background color, remains bullish. We talked about this yesterday. I also said that from a trading perspective, I have absolutely no skin in the game at the moment. I'm not looking to buy the stock. I'm not looking to short the stock. I want to see how the stock reacts here after earnings. So, however, for perspective, I did want to point out that NVIDIA remains in a bullish trend. I also pointed out yesterday, however, that in the very short term, from a momentum perspective, and I said I wouldn't touch this because we have earnings coming up, right? NVIDIA actually was in a bearish momentum setup, right? That's this. However, again, I made this very clear. We don't hold swing trades through earnings reports because of the extremely binary outcome that a stock might have after earnings, particularly something like NVIDIA. So now we're going to see how the stock reacts today. I will give you a couple of levels here that I think are probably interesting for people to see. So I'm going to just quickly create a new chart. If you give me just 1 second, and I'll give you something that I'm watching here today on NVIDIA for those people that watch that particular stock. And that chart is basically a chart that takes into account the overnight gap, okay? So this is the chart, and I'll post this over in Trade Ops here afterwards as well. By the way, I need to close the poll. The poll is about the same as before. 78, 80% people think in here that the share price of NVIDIA will close up today. 17% of you think it's going to close down, and 2% of you are asking, what is NVIDIA? Again, obviously a bit of a joke. So before we look at this chart in NVIDIA, and I'm going to show you guys exactly what we're going to be watching today. Okay, it's basically this green zone. I did want to quickly bring up what Christian just posted in here. So Christian posted our link to today's momentum session. So we're going to be talking about momentum in today's session. It's here. You can sign up for it. It's at 1 o'clock. It's going to be live, and we're going to be looking to live trade momentum. So if you want to, both in the daily charts and maybe there's an intraday setup. So if you want to see how we're going to follow NVIDIA today, make sure you join that session because we're going to follow NVIDIA most likely. I mean, there's most likely something to do. And so I'll be able to give you our live view on that. So that's also where, for example, gosh, what was it? A month ago, we talked about how Bitcoin or the IBIT ETF turned into a bearish momentum move. And again, you can see it's still bearish, down 20%. So if you want to follow us today on NVIDIA, the latest update from a momentum perspective, intraday and on the daily charts, make sure you sign up for today's session. It's totally free. It's open to everyone. 1 o'clock Eastern time today. Again, the link Christian put into the chat box. And any questions, please let us know. Okay, so that's what's going to take place today at 1 Eastern. That's 10 o'clock Pacific, of course. So let's get back to NVIDIA real quick, though. So NVIDIA this morning it's going to gap up about 5%. It's roughly trading, where it's been trading essentially since the initial reaction last night. And so we're going to be watching very closely if NVIDIA has any interest in closing this morning's gap, or if it's going to continue to do basically this, right? So there's two scenarios for NVIDIA today. Either it's going to fill or partially fill the gap, which is going to, I think, test a few people, or it's going to do what's called a gap and go. Instead of guessing this, we're going to be using our gap strategy for that. So that's something we do every day in our Trade Ops members area. And also we're going to follow it from a momentum perspective. So coming into today, we're going to be open-minded as to NVIDIA's next momentum move. Keep in mind that NVIDIA, from our momentum work, did give us a short signal before earnings. Now, that's not a trade, as I keep saying, that's not a trade that I would have done and I didn't do, because I don't trade momentum through earnings. Over time, if you do this long enough, like 25 years, you will notice you have no edge taking a trade through earnings. Over time, you got to do it long enough, right? 10 years, 5 years is not long enough. You really need a long time to kind of see the numbers. However, if, and this is a big if, right? I have no skin in the game in NVIDIA for trading perspective right now. If we were to see a situation where NVIDIA today closes lower or flat, then the sell signal from a momentum perspective that we got before the earnings support, a couple days ago, not valid for a trade through earnings, but after, would become valid in hindsight. Okay, so again, if you want to see that and how do we trade momentum using our Trender momentum indicator, you can go and register for that session right there. Again, Christian put it into the chat box. Okay, so hopefully that addresses some questions around NVIDIA, around the S&P, around the bigger picture. I want to now move on to basically Ticker Thursdays. We're now about 15, not quite, a little bit less minutes in. So if you have any specific stocks and tickers you would like us to look at, please do let me know. We want to continue to reiterate that from a momentum perspective, a lot of stocks have turned bearish. In fact, if I look at my momentum scanner, again, this is our Trender momentum indicator, you can see that we have pages and pages of sell and short signals. And yes, there are some momentum buy signals, but if I go back the past few days, there's many less than momentum sell signals. Okay, so that's something that we're watching very closely. I'll also give you MSTR again, so MicroStrategy. Again, if you're getting hurt on that stock right now, just know that there is actually a better way, and we can actually detect when momentum changes. So, just for those of you that may or may not be hurting on MSTR right now, while everyone on TV and Twitter told you and YouTube told you to that Bitcoin and MSTR is going to go through the moon. Well, it is down 40% since we received the sell signal 4-0. Actually, a little bit more than that. That's a big move. And again, there is a better way to do that. So I don't know if there's any individual stocks you guys want to look at. I know we've covered NVIDIA, which is probably on top of many of you's minds. Again, the poll came back quite clearly. 80% of you think that NVIDIA is going to close higher today. 17% think it's going to be red. And a couple of you said you don't know what NVIDIA is, obviously jokingly. But we will see. I'm 100% open-minded as to what NVIDIA is going to do today. We're going to be following it live and probably trading it live here as well. This is the open gap this morning. And then we'll see what happens from a momentum perspective here this morning. So that's what's going on. Again, if you guys have individual stocks you would like us to look at, I'm happy to take a couple more signals. I wanted to cover NVIDIA because, again, I know that's what probably is on most people's minds. For the remainder of November, I'm looking at the calendar, we essentially have a week left in the month of November, which is really wild if you think about it. This month's just gone so fast. A lot of the longer the S&P doesn't make a new momentum rally, the more the chart that I showed before is going to likely weigh on people, and that can actually then have the opposite effect, right? So this chart here that I showed, that we created together yesterday, the longer we don't have that rally that everyone's kind of hoping and praying for, and like, remember, we talked about this being the most consensus trade, is that everyone thinks we have this year-end rally, which we might, right? 100% might be possible, but if it doesn't happen, there is going to be a pain trade. So I think the next few days, honestly, I think are quite important. I do think it's important to see how NVIDIA holds up. If it does hold up, then, if the algos like it enough, they can pull other stocks higher. If they don't like it, then we'll probably see the opposite effect on that. Okay, so we'll take a couple signals. One of them is Gilead Sciences. This question comes from Andrea. So we'll just look at this from a momentum perspective first. So Andrea, we received a momentum buy signal in Gilead Sciences. So that's GILD. This, of course, is a biotechnology stock. And the momentum buy signal that we received actually happened on the 7th of October. Since then, the stock is now up at 10%. And momentum is still there. So the trailing stop is currently at about $122, $123. From a trending perspective, so trending is sort of the longer term, Gilead Sciences has been in a bullish trend. Oh, this is gold. Sorry. Wrong chart. 1 second. Okay, has been in a bullish trend since October of last year, so about 13 months, and the stock since there is up 50%. So I guess to answer your question, the stock is bullish both from a trending perspective as well as from a more shorter term momentum perspective. That's probably the one I can tell you. So APA is a stock that we added to our trade of the day signal for people that use the market rover. So you can see a buy signal. It's a bullish trend. We think APA can go higher. That's the bullish trend on APA. This company used to be called Apache, by the way. It's an energy company. So yeah, it's a bullish trend. We'll see if it has, if it wants to continue that trend following move. It looks like it might, so that's why we added it this morning. For those of you guys that are using the market rover, you received that email hopefully this morning in your inbox. So there you go. So again, we will meet for a momentum session at 1 p.m. today. You guys can register for that here. Again, it's completely free. If you want to see how we're going to be looking at NVIDIA, maybe it fills its gap, maybe it doesn't, and then see if the momentum lasts on the daily chart or not. Again, that's all part of what we're going to cover today in our momentum trading session at 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Pacific time. And with that, thanks for being here. Set the Market is Monday through Thursdays, so we don't do Fridays. We'll be back with Set the Market on Monday morning. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Again, we'll see you guys at 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Pacific for the momentum session. Until then, be well and stay diversified.